Hey, Larry.
What's up, man?
Not a thing. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling sleepy, but I'm feeling good.
Hey, man, I'm happy for you.
How you feeling?
I'm alright.
Somebody told me that they were talking about hair. I don't know, it's a weird thing to just bring up, but they said that you obviously don't do waves because you got hair, but something about waves. Because you didn't have a conversation about waves or hair?
No.
What the heck did you tell me that for? That's weird.
Well, first off, welcome to another episode of The Big.
And short of it all, I guess.
Just, you know.
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't talking about somebody at work. About waves.
Well, he was talking
In
about hair,
waves.
and then one of our the supervisor started going, talking about what it takes to have waves. But if it don't ring a bell, listen, we don't have to talk about it. I personally never got waves. It just seems like I never want to be that guy that's always brushing his hair all day.
I naturally had waves like back in the day, like in high school. Like after I had to get my hair cut, I would just naturally have waves, but I never like did the do-rag thing where you put the wave grease on, brush it, like I said, a whole bunch of times.
Hot towels.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that. I never did. I think I did it one time, and it was too much. Then now I'm really trying to figure out. The only person I can think of that, like, okay, how long ago was this conversation about hair?
I don't know, but I just had a conversation with somebody about it today.
Because I remember talking to a person about hair, but this was like a while back. But this person had just cut off all their hair.
No, this is the newest person we have working here.
I never even talked to the newest person. I don't even know the newest person's name.
I don't know. Okay, we can just skip.
He must have been talking about the guy that comes from Birmingham, probably, because we probably look alike.
Oh my goodness, that makes sense.
Guys, I never even talk. Like I said, I don't even know what his voice sounds like.
The fact that we are having a conversation about somebody talking to us about hair make me believe.
I didn't talk to him.
Okay. But was it about hair?
No, this is when he was in training.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever talked to him.
Yeah.
Either way it go, man.
Yo, why do I everybody has Dr. Teals now?
Hey, Dr. Teals is they not sponsoring this, but they good business now.
Dr. Teals, when your skin.
Hey. I just said they're not sponsoring.
Okay.
Free advertisement. What's on your mind, James? I got some stuff on my mind to talk about, but it's not all. Chipper is not the best word.
I don't know.
It's not sad,
Okay.
but it's not like upbeat.
Right.
You know.
So I don't know if you all play video games, but there's this game coming out called Mortal Kombat 1. And I know that sounds weird because Mortal Kombat has been coming out for a long time. Why is it called Mortal Kombat 1?
I have no idea.
You know what? We talked about Mortal Kombat before because I almost went into detail. We were talking about the movies though.
You talked about Mortal Kombat. I think it was the movies though.
Okay. Well, this game looks amazing, and I don't really have because I know that you probably haven't been keeping up with it. So,
James, let's just be honest with you. The only thing I know about Mortal Kombat is what I've seen in the first two movies and the new movie, and then that's about it.
So what's so cool about what they're doing is that they're resetting the timeline, which is why things are going back to 1.
Okay.
And so it's Luke. I know.
No, I'm listening, man.
But the other listeners.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't want to ruin it because I'm just listening because I'm just like I'm more so thinking like I wonder why they decided to reset it because they were like, oh well, people stopped paying attention, so let's just reset it.
So it's like a whole different game engine. Like the way everybody fights is like different.
So that's why they reset the timeline?
No.
That's what I'm trying to what was the one resetting the timeline?
I want to say because maybe they just wanted a fresh start because like the way things are going, the way things were going, it's like you had they created a new boss and the new boss wasn't received very well.
That's I was waiting for you to hear. That's what he said.
So Luke came, became pretty much God, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna shape everything in the way I want to. and the way he look, it's amazing.
So basically, people started checking out. And it was like, he's too overpowered. We can't really do anything with him. So it's like, you know what? Let's even the playing field and start it back at 1.
Well, no, because Liu Kang still is God in this new timeline.
Right, but like I'm talking about like, but at least you have a new storyline that you can attach yourself to, as opposed to like an already convoluted story that you may or may not know all the stuff about. So it's like, at least I can start back at the original story.
Yeah.
At least if anything, I can enjoy that piece.
Oh no, they did the original story in Mortal Kombat 9. They like retread.
Well, not original,
but like they sir, man, listen. So Reptile was originally a human, and then at one point they decided to make him a actual lizard.
Okay.
So what Liu Kang has done, or what would you say?
Made him back a human.
He's a human, but he
with the reptile abilities.
Yes, like no, well, not just abilities. Like he can shapeshift. So like while he's fighting, he'll be human, pow, and then like he turns to reptile, like do like the ball, and then turn back.
So Liu Kang made a Beast Boy.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's what you're saying. So now we got Mortal Kombat / Teen Titans. That's cool.
He's green, so that makes sense.
That's cool.
Another thing they're doing. So I know that we met during the Mortal Kombat Deception Deadly Alliance days, and the characters that they introduced at those times were not well received. So they are re-skinning them. Like they're giving them.
They're updating them.
Yes, and some of them are pretty darn cool.
So here's my question, right? So if people didn't, okay, because you're more tapped in than I am, so I'll just ask it this way.
Yep.
So when they weren't that well received before, was it because of the way they looked, or what was the reason why they weren't that well received?
Combination of a lot of things. So looks had a little bit to do with it, but some of the things were like there was a guy named Jarek. He was an obvious replacement for Kano. So lack of originality because he just had Kano's moves. Storylines weren't all that great. There was a number of things. And there was some like a person in particular named Ashram. She was like she had all white. She had like a big old hat, and she was like an obvious replacement for Raiden. But obviously,
yeah, I was just about to ask you: is Raiden gonna be the new Mortal Kombat 1?
He is, and he's not a god because he gave his god powers to Liu Kang. So he's just a regular old thunder person.
That sucks.
It's fine. It's cool to me, but Johnny Cage is the one that I'm pissed off about because he doesn't have the shadow, like the green stuff. So he can't throw the green balls. He can't when he kicks. He don't have any green thing behind him. He's not the Johnny Cage, Johnny Cage is one of my favorites.
Well, I mean, he's a revamped Johnny Cage, so
yeah. Stryker's in it. He's not like
nobody care about no Stryker.
I love Stryker. Listen, I am one of I'm one of the very few Stryker.
I don't know much about Mortal Kombat, but I know a lot of people weren't fans of Stryker.
Which is interesting. I mean, like when you think about it, he's just a person with like police stuff. So how do you fight somebody who can have a chainsaw come out of his chest or with a taser and a baton?
You just explained why people didn't like him. He's just a regular person with police stuff.
And he's not really a
you already had a regular person, Johnny Cage.
But he has like the green shadow. He was later retconned to have like these powers that he developed.
But when Johnny Cage came in, what was it?
I mean, he was a regular person, but he did still have the shadow stuff. They just gave it a story.
What does Stryker have outside of?
He can like slide along the floor with his baton and trip you.
Wow, that's great. Got to play with him.
Oh, and grenades.
Oh, that makes it so interesting.
I like them. It's fine.
Plus, he's not going to strike him because he's going to strike her.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just going to leave that where it's at.
He don't say finish him, just strike her.
But that's what he says for real?
No, it says finish him.
Oh, okay. I wanted to laugh, but I didn't know if you were being serious because I don't know. I don't really play with him. So I didn't know if that was like, that's why I was like, does he really? Because he's so regular, I can see him saying that. Like,
just give him something like, people don't like him. Let's give him a little bit extra. No finish him, Striker. Yeah, I like the name though, Striker. I mean, there's a lot of cool names like Scorpion and Ermac. I know Ermac.
So you like Striker over Scorpion?
No, hell no. No.
Okay, I'm just checking. I'm just gauging. I'm just trying to be sure.
There's a lot of like it. I should do like a tier list of like my top favorites. While I like Scorpion over Sub-Zero, Sub-Zero still like a really he's OG.
Well, because here's the thing, James. Like, if you do this, here's my issue with lists in general. Yep. Right. I feel like anybody who does a list is not really a real list.
Why not?
Because it's like it's hard for human people or just people in general to do a list of the top whatever without adding in your personal stories and backgrounds and bias to it.
Well, yeah. No, it definitely wouldn't be like a list of the best, like the more.
No, I'm just saying, like, but like, I don't know. I just be like, Scorpion. That's just,
So I will admit, like, I want to say maybe around Mortal Kombat 9, Scorpion has started. I don't like him as much because he has become like I don't like picking the main character. And he's kind of like the mascot of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, him and Sub-Zero.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And shoot, back in the day, Liu Kang was like the... Yeah. So it's kind of passed down to them. And I do like Scorpion less. But I still like Scorpion. Just not as much.
That's why he started playing with Striker.
But he's only been in like 3 games.
I wonder why.
And it was not a good look in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. He looked so bad.
He came out just fresh off a SWAT team. So yeah, I'm ready.
That's my guy though. He's like
somebody's gotta like him. I'm not faulting you for liking him. It's just the more you talk about him, the more I can see why people did not like him. Because I know why I didn't like him, and I only have one recollection of him. And
was that Armageddon?
James, you know I don't know the names of these things. I just remember seeing a guy named Striker in a police uniform, and I was like, no.
But was it in college when you saw him? James. Okay, just if that's it, then I understand. I mean, he was cooler in Mortal Kombat 3. Okay, all right.
Remember. I'll tell you, all I remember is Striker, police. I'm good. Okay, that's all I remember.
And then he would walk around like it was. It's embarrassing. But anyway, all right, we can change the subject.
It's all good, man. I'm gonna let you get your Striker love off for a second.
Do you remember Havoc?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I remember the name, but nothing about it.
All right. So what else games? I got other stuff. That was like the one that I didn't think we'd talk about that much.
Hey, man, James. If anything I learned in this business, you gotta learn how to stretch it out. See how you look at it? You look at the it's like, you gotta start really low. Because what you learn in this business. James.
Yeah, you got years in this thing.
Yeah, man. I'm bled in. Nah, you really want to talk about what I want to talk about?
Let's do it. Your topics matter.
All right, James. You want to go down this rabbit hole? We'll do it.
Oh, here we go. I've regret it already.
So, let me ask you a clarifying question first.
Clarifying, okay.
Well, maybe not clarifying, but just a heat check question.
Okay.
So, how do you feel about your life right now? Like, as a whole?
I don't feel like I am where I wanted to be, where I should be.
Kind of already lead what I'm talking about, but go ahead.
Yeah. I will say that, because of reasons, I am more happy than I have been, but...
You scared to talk about those reasons because of the last episode?
No, well, I mean, it's just you here, so I'm not...
Okay. I'm just checking.
But no, I definitely have a more positive outlook on things, and I want to better myself, so I think I'm going to see about bettering myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another question. Well, first off, before I ask the question, is there anything you don't want to talk about in your life?
There are things, but I mean, I don't think you're going to bring up anything I don't want to talk about.
So I'm asking a question. You tell me if you want to answer or not.
All right.
So we've had a conversation before. It's all going somewhere, right?
Okay.
I'm asking these questions because you weren't a part of my original thought process. So now I'm trying to slowly walk you into where I am now.
Okay.
So we had a conversation, of course, off camera.
Yeah.
Because you have a daughter, which they know that.
Yep.
So we had a conversation about how once she gets to a certain age,
yep,
you're looking to leave Alabama and go somewhere else.
Yep.
Right. Still a plan.
It's less of a plan, but yes, it's still in the back of my mind.
Okay. So is that? I'm trying to figure out how I want to ask this, so it kind of leads into what I'm talking about.
Sure.
So let's say that wasn't the plan, and you decided to stay in Alabama.
Right.
Do you feel like? Oh, okay. I ask it this way: do you feel like you don't do certain things as far as like? Okay, let me backtrack.
Okay.
Because like, every time I try, my mind is just, okay. So let me ask this: are you content where you are work wise?
No.
So, do you feel like you don't try to do different things job wise because of in the back of your mind you're leaving once she gets older, or do you don't do it because you feel like you just don't want to?
Okay, actually, let me rephrase that, because the word you use, content, I am actually content, but it's not. I'm not. Oh shoot. Okay, so I'm not satisfied. That's the word. I'm content. Okay. Because obviously I've been working here for a while, but I'm not satisfied with where I am. So the reason that I have not gone out to look places is actually because I have a degree, and I have not used that degree since 2010. Mm-hmm. So any job that I would try, that I had the potential to excel or make more money in, I'm not as qualified as I should be. So what I do now would lead more into the IT field. But my thing is, like, we pretty much do like the surface of IT. We don't really get down into the details. Mm-hmm. So if I was to apply, I feel like, not necessarily that I have to rely on my resume, but if I got to the job, I feel like they'd be like, well, you're not what we were expecting. And then I left this job that I was not necessarily getting paid, but I had a decent job.
Yeah.
And now I left that job and I can't get back to where I was.
Don't you feel like, because I get what you're saying as far, because definitely in the technology field, it's ever changing. Mm-hmm. I understand that. Yeah. But don't you feel like it would be easier for you to like brush up or refresh yourself as opposed to like just not, I'm too far behind to catch up? Now, do you feel like you could just like freshen up on skills?
Yeah, programming languages is so many out there, and while basically they have a lot of similarities, like if you learn one, you can it's transferable. I don't know, man. Like I think I should just avoid the programming languages and just go straight for IT, which is not as software.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's why I ask these questions, because here's my thought process.
Okay.
And I don't know why I started having these thoughts.
Okay.
But they came. Maybe because, I am getting older than 36, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm at a place now where I'm thinking about like things on the line of like being complacent. Mm-hmm. Like settling for a certain thing and just staying there and never really reaching out for more.
Right.
Which is why I asked you about, because like I said, I knew we talked about you moving, but I didn't want to just assume you weren't trying to do anything else outside of what you do now, because of like, in your mind, it's like, well, there's no reason for me to start something else if I'm not going to be here after this point.
That is one thing, because I guess what I wanted to do was work for the school that I went to, and if I decide to move, then like, why would I even, Yeah,
because it's like, why start a new journey when I'm basically going to uproot that just to go somewhere? So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's why I asked if you decided to stay, how would that look? Because like, I know me personally, like, as much as I like Huntsville, as much as I like where I am now, I didn't see myself being in Huntsville this long.
No, not at all.
However, it's different for me than it is for you. Mm-hmm. Because like for me, I'm coming from a small place to Huntsville, while you're coming from a large place. That's it. So it's kind of like, for me, this is, living wise, this is a step up.
Sure.
For you, it's kind of like, I don't say a side step, but like, we're not a complete step down, I don't think. But it's definitely a drastic change.
Yes.
However, I feel like you have adjusted.
Yeah.
But I can see you being like, this is not where I want to be, not where I want to be forever either.
I do. Charlotte is probably where I would go if I did move.
Hmm.
How about you? What are you thinking?
Not Charlotte.
Why not?
I've never even been to Charlotte. I don't even know anything about Charlotte. So it's not that I'm ruling. It's not that I'm ruling out. It's just I have no knowledge to say yay or nay on Charlotte.
Yeah.
Based on the places I've been and like stayed for a while, probably Houston.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like I don't know, James. It's just, like I said, it's just the whole conversation of like, because then you have the whole thing of like, you have this potential, but then it's like, how do you feel if you don't ever live up to that certain potential?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to look back on your life and be like, well, did I do anything to leave anything behind, or did I just survive day to day?
Mm-hmm. I will say that my whole life I've grown up thinking marriage, 401k, just generating wealth, and like you said, leaving something behind. And then for a while, like I don't want to say reality hit me, but it was like, yeah, but I'm okay. I don't need all that. And so, and I hate to just keep bringing this up, but recently, like I don't know. I'm slowly going back to.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that is actually reality. Like, just I'm slowly going back to. You're not here. There's a reason you're here. Like you don't. Yeah. You're not just living.
True.
Yeah.
Well, not because don't get me wrong. Like, because I also look at it from this perspective. Like, because I'm not one to just want wealth. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't necessarily just have to be wealthy. However, I do want to have more than what I have now.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I guess I don't strive to be like, I got to be the wealthiest person ever. Mm-hmm. But like, I do want to have more to where like certain things aren't an issue. So like, I don't want to put that in the atmosphere, but like, oh, I got to get this fixed, as opposed to like, oh, this happens, it just ruins my world. So it's just like, oh, I just paid it. So like, I have different issues as opposed to like, I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna eat today. Mm-hmm. Not saying that's what I deal with now, but like,
right.
Those struggles won't be as big a deal to me as something else. Like, oh man, the market crashed. Dang, I lost 30,000 or
right.
something. I don't know.
30 million can't hurt me.
Yeah, but like, so I just, because the other thing I think about too is like, how do you even determine what your like strengths are, or not necessarily determine them, but like, how do you know what is a true strength that you can use to gain or to fulfill your potential, or is it just something that you're just good at? So like, I give you an example. I use me for an example. Mm-hmm. Apparently everybody thinks I'm funny, mm-hmm. right? So is that a true strength to where I can utilize that to make money off of it, or to be a better person, or build a better life? Or is it just a characteristic that I'm just good at?
I remember we had a conversation about this before. I think, it's worth a try. So, there's a place on, I want to say Leland Ferry, mm-hmm. An improv center. And, I know there's probably some places where they have like, what's the word? Walk-in comedians you can go in. Mm-hmm. Obviously it's probably going to take a lot for you to make it like mainstream. Mm-hmm. But, just trying it out on the side, just like maybe developing a set. Mm-hmm. Developing a set and then just go try it out.
Because the reason why I say that is because like, I'm 36, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying as if like I'm just super old, mm-hmm. but I'm also getting to a point now where it's kind of like, how when you're younger, you have all these paths open to you.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I can take this path, which some you didn't know about because we were taught
right.
high school, college, job.
Yep.
But now, as the world is changing, you have more paths than you did before when you were 20. But we're past 20 now. So now I'm getting to the age of 36 where it's kind of like, I got to make sure I choose the right path because I ain't got time to just be wasted on this path when I should have took this one to get to where I need to be.
That's true.
So it's kind of like, yeah, I could do which I'm not saying I wouldn't do. I'm not negating the whole do it on the side, but it's kind of like, how much energy do you put into something where it's kind of like, this is cool, I do okay at it, but like, how much energy do you devote to that if it doesn't go anywhere?
Because at some point, you know, you like, do you grind? Do you, you know, do you eat, sleep, and breathe this, or are you just, how bad do you want it?
Because it's like, I feel like it's almost kind of like an up and coming rapper, right? It's like at some point you got to realize you just suck.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like how because there are people that's been, you know, rapping for years.
Yeah.
And don't get
mixtape 23.
Exactly. And then like, I mean, I don't know, man.
It's like you have to. Sometimes you gotta make that decision. You gotta pull that eject. Like, all right, I'm done.
I will say that this, I won't say isn't the place to do it, but if you want to, you're gonna have to probably go to a bigger venue, a bigger city.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's if that's what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
But example wise, yes.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of something I thought about. Cause it's kind of like, as much as I like the job, I'm like you. I'm content.
Mm-hmm.
I'm satisfied with it. It's a decent job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stable job. It pays what it needs to pay. I have, money to do extra stuff here and there. Like I said, I'm not struggling to find out what I'm gonna eat every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm 36. If y'all ain't heard by now, I'm 36. Like, the last thing I want to do is to be outside working my body at like 44.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's.
I hear you.
That's, even though, again, it's not old, that's not something I want to do forever, man.
Yeah, and I mean, this pay scale bracket, whatever you want to say that we are, it's like it's messing us up with this inflation. Mm-hmm. It's worth less and less.
Mm-hmm. Also, well, I don't know. I guess I can talk about this because apparently it's in the news. Somebody else told me about it, but apparently in January in the state of Alabama, I think there's a law that's being passed to where. So, like, okay, you know how, let's say you work 30 hours overtime,
mm-hmm.
and after they tax it, you only get paid, like, let's say 13 hours overtime.
Mm-hmm.
They're making a law now where they can't tax overtime. So if you work 30 hours overtime, you're going to get paid for 30 hours.
But do we have to pay that back at the end of the year?
Now, that I don't know. The person who told me didn't go into great detail, because she just heard about it because she's the HR person. Mm-hmm. And so she was just saying it starts in January, but we didn't go into like the deep, details of it. But like the overall bullet point is, if you work 30 hours overtime, they can't tax that overtime. So you get more money back, at least in the short term. Now, long term, I don't know. I can't speak for that.
Yeah. Okay. I would need more, and it's not like I can do anything about it because. I guess, every year you can, well, no, not every year. Yeah, you can set aside some money. So, I mean, you could mitigate that by every check saving $20, $30, $40.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess in the grand scheme of things, like, you could look at it this way. Like, let's say I work 30 hours mm-hmm. and I'm used to them taxing half of it. Mm-hmm. But let's say now they're not taxing, I get paid for those full 30 hours. You can still take the part that they would tax and set that aside.
Yep. And
basically live the same way you used to, but at least now instead of them having it, you have it set off somewhere else that you don't know about. You can do it that way. So, I don't know.
IRS talk.
Hey man, it's called grown-ups. I told you, James. I don't know if you read this stuff I got on my mind. I got another topic if you want it.
Go for it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Since we talking, adult stuff.
All right.
Nah, I was gonna make a dirty joke, but no. I did have another thought.
Okay.
So, how to ask this?
Now let me break it up. Can you smell my feet?
No.
Okay.
All right. So, because it's hard to get not ideas, but thoughts into.
Yeah.
So intelligence.
Okay.
Is intelligence measured by the type of conversations you have with other intelligent people, or is it measured by just the amount of knowledge you know?
I guess it depends on who's doing the measuring. Like if you are doing the measuring, so intelligence, I believe, is strictly like knowledge that not even knowledge, but knowledge that you know, because you know, dang it, not smarts, but you can be book smart, you can be street smart. There's but intelligence, I feel, is specifically what you learn, just knowledge. So
okay.
But the thing is like a random person or somebody else doesn't know how much you learn. So I mean, just based on what you say, they're going to determine your intelligence based on something else. So I don't really think it's necessarily knowledge that you learn, because if I'm randomly saying I think you're intelligent, is that based on things you like? Sometimes that's based on how the syntax of your sentences. Like yeah. So
it's conversation.
That's a lot of things. I don't know.
So here's a follow-up question while you're thinking about that.
Okay.
What is the purpose of trying to prove to somebody that you're intelligent?
Who tries to prove they're intelligent?
So when if you are a certain type of person, right? Okay, let's say you. Take you, because I've used myself a lot. You yourself. If you know you're going into a room full of a certain type of people, do you not inherently try to up your game to a certain level?
You know, something happened recently where, me personally, no. And I don't know what that says about me, but I was with some people who invited me to a game night. And all these people worked at Boeing. They were like engineers, they were this, they were that. They knew things about wines that I didn't even know that was a thing. And I'm just, when are we playing Mario Party?
Well, okay. All right, I see. That's funny. Because I can see you saying that like, that wine is cool and all, but go-karts.
Right.
No, I guess what I'm more so talking about is like, not necessarily a lax situation, but more of, it don't have to be like a work situation, but it could be like a seminar type of thing. Okay. To where like, these people are going to be talking, you know, because I feel like even if you take an intelligent person and put him at a game night, they're gonna be kind of laid back, because they're not really here to talk about work. I'm talking about a situation where it's like, you know, there's going to be work talk, or you know, there's going to be talk about whatever, and you feel like I need to be on top of my conversational game, because they're going to ask me questions about whatever. And now, mind you, these could be people who have nothing to do with your job. Sure. And they have nothing, like, you're not even there to network, or you're just there to just mix and mingle. Like, why do I have to, in that case, if I'm going to be in this room, why do I have to now make it sound like, I'm not saying I'm going to come in and just be dumb, be ignorant, but like, why do I have to come in and now like change my whole, like, the social economic welfare of the world.
Yeah, I think I was told that this is called code switching, but
why do I have to do that?
I think you know, because most people, because I mean there are some people who maybe, you know, I don't want to talk about anybody in particular, but some people who had already come to the conclusion that maybe that just isn't who they are, so they approach it differently. But the majority of people, I would say, want to be not accepted.
I can see that.
Yeah. So obviously, if you come in there and you're not speaking on their level, not only are they going to talk about you, but I mean there may be some physical. Maybe they stay away from you. Maybe they talk behind your back or something like that. There's going to be a level of discomfort that's going to come your way, and nobody wants to feel that way.
I get that, because it's kind of like you want to be. It's not necessarily fitting in, but you don't want to be the outcast at the party. That makes sense. I guess my whole thing is I guess I'm just getting to a point to where it's kind of like, is if I don't come off intelligent to you, or if I don't sound a certain type of way, or if I'm not very knowledgeable of a topic that you're discussing or whatever, it's like in your mind you kind of write me off just because I don't, like seem a certain way to you. When the fact to me is kind of like maybe I just didn't feel like talking about that.
True.
Or maybe it's like even though I know about it, it doesn't interest me. So I'm just kind of like, I don't want to talk about what you're talking about.
Did anything happen that you decided to feel this way?
No, it's just that. I mean, that part, okay. So the whole thinking of proven intelligence is something that I just thought about right now.
Okay.
The initial thought I had was just the measurement of intelligence in general, because it came from because I was watching something else. And this is going to sound off the wall because these are not connected any way at all.
Okay.
So the thought came from, I was watching something and they asked the question of who determines the market value for like attractiveness,
right.
Or like, okay, like how like people say, oh, you're a 5 or you're an 8 or this person is desirable, why this one isn't. Like who makes up that market value? Who determines that for like is it dependent upon what guys like, or like who determines that?
I think beauty, even though there are some things that are determined to be beautiful, I think beauty is definitely inherent. While there are things that can make you more beautiful, there are things that can make you less attractive. But I feel like from a young age, you do recognize beauty to an extent. There are some people that, I don't know, beauty is less of a factor. But as far as the market, that's a great question. Obviously, external factors have something to do with it. So, I hate to be that guy that's like social media. Social media.
That has a big part in it.
It does, and it's not the end all be all.
Because the thing about it is, like, as a guy, right? Let's say people in general make up the market value for something. As a population, right? If we all consume media on Instagram or just anywhere, right? And if all I see is women, big butts, big breasts, certain types of shape, whatever, if that's all we see and that's all we're being fed, as a market value, now that's what all men are going to want because that's what we see. So now when you see like a natural girl come along and is like, your market value is low because I want that.
I definitely think that, and I'm just, I guess, kind of co-signing what you're saying, but media in general, because back in the day, all you had was TV, you had magazines, and I don't know if magazines would be considered media, but that was how...
I guess it's a form of it.
Yeah, it is. I don't even know. So, that's where people got their beauty tips from. Yeah. People would go to hair shops, and then you see posters of women with whatever the new styles is. So one thing that I guess I want to say is skinny jeans. So if somebody had skinny jeans on in the 90s or 80s, there's probably some F words that would kind of go around with that. But at some point, media pushed that, and skinny jeans became mainstream. And I don't know. At one point, I saw men with pacifiers. Like I remember in high school, men were going around with. I don't know if that was any attractive, but
well, it's all. I feel like it all falls under the same umbrella because it's kind of like what a market value can consist of is more than just physical attributes. It could be because especially for like let's say a woman, she was like, oh well, a man is supposed to be this. So this is the type of men I'm attracted to. And then let's say you got a lot of guys who are walking around pacifiers, and it's kind of like that value is low for them because as majority of women, they're like, men don't act like that. Men don't act that way.
Right.
I want a man who's going to do A, B, C, and D, and none of those things consist of a guy with a pacifier. So now your value is lower as opposed to this guy who's chopping wood and chopping trees and whatever in the wood with suspenders and no shirt on. Like, that's manly. His value is high.
So there's somebody who recently was going through some relationship troubles, and she had put a post out saying, I don't need to see my man cry or something like that. And I understand, why women feel that way. But I mean, men have feelings, men cry. And I asked her, I said, why do you feel that a man shouldn't cry?
Mm-hmm.
And she said that, she wants to feel protected and all that other stuff. So if a man is showing weakness or, that he's crying, then she don't feel like he can protect her. And I'm like, so, I mean, what gave you that idea? Because
he cried?
If he has a gun, can he not protect you?
Well, first off, and I'm not saying this is what you said, but women feeling protected is more than just like the physical version of it too. Definitely. But him crying shouldn't have any. I don't know, man. If anything, if a guy cries in front of you, if anything, that should say he feels comfortable enough with you to be vulnerable. Thus, he's going to want to protect you even more because he can do that.
You should be the person he's crying to, and I'm not saying that he should be crying every night. I'm not saying, but if he's going through something, you should want him to come cry to you.
Now, on the flip side, if this man crying because he lost a sock.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Brendan Fraser and Bedazzled, the sunset.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, no.
That's my only one. Like that's. I don't know. I can't argue against that. But like
a Pikachu sock. They don't make them anymore.
But if they're like you said, if he's crying to you, you should be the one. You should be his peace, basically. Is what we're saying.
Yep.
But like, if he has a valid reason, like, hey, I understand. But like, dang, there's no more erase on this pencil. God, you can't stop these tears from flowing.
my mom, my mom died, and I can't even show the emotion.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Cause that's a whole other thing. I ain't gonna get into that. But like, I don't know. It's just, it's just a thought. But that's where the knowledge thing came from. Was that?
Gotcha. We didn't. I'm good at that. I'll take you somewhere else.
I know it's cool. I do it all the time. So, but that's where it came from because it was kind of like I was thinking along the same lines as that, and then I was like, well, then there's intelligence, and I was like, well, who measures that, or like how is that, And there was a whole big old thing. So it's just kind of like because I feel like we've had this conversation before. Like I don't have an issue with like learning and gaining knowledge and learning information, and because I want to learn new stuff all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like when it gets to a point where like you just flaunt your knowledge just to be flaunting it, or like the whole thing of like, to this day I don't get it. Why is there 7 words for one word?
I do believe that has something like not superiority, but just to allow people to be on a different level. That's probably what it is.
But why does it have to be? I know why, but like, it's just dumb.
It could also come from translations, because we get our words have roots in a whole bunch of different languages.
That's true.
Yeah, it could be.
But I don't want to look at it that way. Though.
Okay. Yep.
Here's how I look at it. I see a guy, right? He's sitting down in his chair. There's a dictionary. There's a word that says that. And he's like, that's a nice word. I wonder if I can come up with another word that means the same thing.
But I want it more complicated.
But has 14 letters.
Yeah.
Now, when I go to this party, I can be like, Flukenslaken, that, that's a different language. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so now I get to throw this other word, but I was like, what does that mean? And they're like, oh, so you mean that? No,
Right.
no. No, I don't mean that. I mean this word.
Yeah. So I've always wondered, is slang the opposite? Like I don't. I think I mentioned it before, but it's like I don't know those words, so I'm going to make a word, or not necessarily even make a word, but I'm going to have this word mean something that smart people won't know.
You know what? I never looked at it that way, but I feel like it could be. I've always looked at slang as like just people just trying to simplify a language to make it quicker. But
And I think that's what people generally do, but like, does it have roots in the other way? That's just, I don't know. That's cool. Like I guess that's why people do it.
Because here's the thing about it is like here's the interesting thing about slang. What fascinates me about slang is how like okay, smart people have 7 words to say the same thing, right? But they're all documented. They all know about those 7 words. They may use them, they may interchange them throughout whatever, right? When it comes to slang, every region or state or everybody has different slang to their own. So it's kind of like most slang doesn't translate everywhere. So it's kind of like if I go over here, I got to learn this slang.
That's true.
If I go there, I got to learn this slang.
That's true.
Now it's kind of like, well, this is just doesn't make sense.
And it's always changing.
Yeah,
It's always something new.
Especially once newer kids come up, and they start their own. Like this whole Riz thing, man.
Somebody just asked me about that yesterday.
I feel so old just even saying that.
Have you? Did you just learn about it?
No, I knew about it for a while.
Okay.
I'm just saying like just the fact that like this is like me saying this Riz thing. Like I feel old just saying that. Like, well, these kids with that Riz.
Sometimes I'm like, I know what a word means. I know when to use it, but I'm like, I don't. That's not for me. I'm too old.
Hey, man.
Like glizzy. I don't think I ever want to use the word glizzy.
Here's what I'm confused about with glizzy, right?
It means both. Go ahead.
No, I was just like, when I was, well, I can say when I was introduced to it, but like my initial definition of a glizzy was a gun.
Yep.
Now it's a hot dog.
And it's got another meaning too.
Yeah, well, it's still a hot dog.
Yeah.
But how did that happen?
We don't need to know how or why. We just need to know what it means.
But you know what though? Now that I think about it, it makes sense because the hashtag is just a number sign that we used to use back in the day.
That's yep.
Nice.
Pound sign.
Oh, pound sign. So yeah, the pound sign is now hashtag.
Tic-tac-toe. Did I tic-tac-toe?
I don't know.
I said TikTok. Oh my goodness, this is what is going on?
I'm gonna tell you a crazy story that I heard.
Okay.
Speaking of slang, so we as black people, African Americans, we tend to have our own way of saying things, right? White people got their way of saying things, Mexicans, so on and so forth. I heard a story. This is crazy.
Okay.
I feel like I heard it before. I don't know if it's I don't think it's fairly new. It's probably old. But there was this white lady, right? And there's this black guy. So the black guy, I think it was at Walmart, some store. So he was like, hey man, I'm finna go ahead and blow this bathroom up. Me and you know what that means.
Yep.
She literally thought he was going to go blow the bathroom up with a bomb.
Yep.
So she called the police to come
surely
take care of the situation.
Unless she was like 90 years old, there is no way why would you announce that?
That's my thought process. I give you another one. So you've used the term CP time before.
Yes. Rush hour 2. She was the bomb? Okay, cool.
She was the bomb the whole time? So we know CP time is color people time.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a situation. I can't remember the details, but somebody, I think it was a celebrity or somebody, I think it was at an award show or something. Somehow they said something, they made the mention of somebody or them doing something on CP time as a joke.
I think I've heard about or saw this. I don't know. Go ahead.
And then the people in the world were offended,
of course,
because they thought, why would you talk about cerebral palsy like that?
I mean, I know it's I don't.
Like, this is a real situation that happened.
I didn't even go there. I wasn't even thinking anywhere near that.
Because you know why? Because you know what CP time means.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, like, I don't even know how. When have you ever heard a black person say CP and it was a CP, especially timed, and it's referring to cerebral palsy? Nothing against people with cerebral palsy. Like, you got cerebral palsy?
Anthony.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying, like,
yeah.
I don't have any issue with, like.
No, I was just answering the question. You said, "When have you ever heard a black person?" So I knew no black person. Yeah, but before I'd known him, I'd never. Yeah,
but he's never used the term CP time.
No, not time. No.
Yeah. Like, I can understand if you just said CP, but to throw CP time behind it, because here's another reason why that's so whatever to me. And I know a lot of white people don't consume a lot of black media. Like TV shows and movies.
Yep.
But I have watched a lot of them. And there have been so many jokes made in them about CP time.
Right.
You haven't seen not one of them, and you didn't know that's what they were referring to? You didn't see the clip online of people joking about, oh, he on CP time?
Not only that, do you not have any black friends that you could have, like, workshopped this to?
You know they didn't. You know they don't. You know they don't.
That's funny.
I don't know. Just a good. Well, it's just, hey man. But you know what it made me think about, and I was just, because I know we're going down rabbit holes here, because it all stemmed from something that happened to Jamie Foxx.
Yep.
Jamie the Fox. Something happened to Jamie Foxx recently.
Yep.
You heard about that?
Not recently. Oh, you know what? I saw he made an apology, I think, but I don't know what it was about.
So he made a post. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't know. But basically, he made a post about how, like, a friend betrayed him, or even your friends betrayed you, or something like that. And basically, he made reference to, like, you know, like, even they betrayed Jesus as well. You know, like, your friends will betray you, whatever, right?
Is that not true?
So that statement has nothing, like, you don't feel no type of way about that, right?
Yeah, nope.
So, the Jewish community came out and was like, "Hey, why would you? That's a you know."
Did he specifically say Jew?
No,
what is the problem?
No.
He just referred to, like, one person who betrayed him. Obviously, Peter denied him, so I don't know if that's going to.
Jesus is a Jew, so it's a racial slander because Jesus is a Jew.
It's in a book, and it like, if you.
Hey James.
Okay, all right.
You got to argue with me.
Yeah, because
I understand. Because the reason why I bring it up, and I heard, because the people I was watching talk about it made a good point. The reason why me and you don't find anything wrong with it,
because we're not Jewish.
It has nothing to do with being Jewish.
Okay.
It's because in the black community, we need to look at Jesus as a Jew. To us, Jesus is just Jesus.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So, I ain't never been to a black service where they're like, hey, Jesus the Jew. They just be like, Jesus.
Because, you know, they do, you know, because I never personally thought that Jesus was a Christian, because that just makes no sense to me. But, I mean, he practiced Judaism, right? No. Hebrew. Like, there's, I know there's, I am not knowledgeable about this stuff, but you probably do you know what his
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know.
What the heck is it? And so I don't know.
Because here's the thing, I get what you're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
But my knowledge of what I was taught in church was Jesus.
Exactly.
Christianity.
Exactly.
Be saved. Now, what Jesus practiced, ain't nobody talking about that. All we know is Jesus had some parables and he walked around saving people. That's all I know.
No, that's a language. Okay, I'm giving up.
The point I'm making is, and the point that these people were talking, was that how, like, we as a black community, there is no, if somebody says a term that we deem to be like a racial slur, there's usually no kind of real big, like fallout, as opposed to like, hey, that's a Jewish term or Jewish whatever, or that's I feel offended because you said CP, which means cerebral palsy.
Which, just like many things nowadays, wasn't necessarily a thing until recently. Like, so it's not like Jews have been like, oh, we've been, being.
Yeah.
I think so. Is Judaism? Does that not refer to Judas? Like, to me, like my whole life, Judaism and Judas was so close together. But why would anybody worship Judas? Like, I don't. Is there a connection there?
Listen, I'm not gonna lie because I don't know.
Okay, all right. I don't know, Jay. I never liked that.
I haven't studied these things, so I'm not gonna give you an answer and it'll be wrong. All I know is Jesus was Jesus.
Yeah. And Christianity needs to be Christ-like, so it can't be Christian because Christ can't be Christ-like. Well, I mean, he can, but anyway, you're not living to be whatever. I'm done. Let's change the subject.
I'm just saying, man. It's just a thought, just to wrap the whole thought. I feel like you want to keep going.
No, I know I had something religious to talk about, but I don't remember what it was.
Like pre-planned?
Yeah, I've got some other things pre-planned. I don't. Okay, all right. I don't know.
I mean, we can go. We can take a hard left if you want to.
Okay, I'm sure maybe you've heard Melle Mel and Eminem. No. Do you know who Melle Mel is?
The old school rapper Melle Mel?
I didn't know who he was until this stuff that happened.
Is he a guy from like Sugar Hill Gang or something? Or he was in the Sugar Hill Gang?
Grandmaster Flash and the Fab.
Oh, Furious Five.
Furious Five.
He was part of them. I knew it was one of those groups, those old school groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eminem apparently he just be hanging on to grudges and stuff. So he finally there's a new guy named Easy Mill, which the song is actually pretty decent.
Easy Mill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's Filipino, and apparently he's like he sings, he does rock, he does all this other stuff. Eminem and Dr. Dre signed him. But anyway, so Eminem decided to hop on a song with him. He dissed all these people that said, but he's not who he used to be. And so Melle Mel said Eminem wouldn't be a top 5 rapper if he wasn't white.
Okay, hold on. So if Eminem wasn't white, he wouldn't be a top 5 rapper.
Yep. So and this verse, Eminem, he's really clever with this verse, but he said, I'm top 5 not because I'm white, but because I'm white, I'm not number 1 or something like that.
So basically what he's saying is like, me being white doesn't put me in the top 5. However, me being white doesn't allow me to be the top rapper in the world. Yeah.
So race. He said race is still being. I don't know about that, but he said race is still being used against him, which is interesting because he's in the black not community but space rapping the culture.
Ally.
Yeah. And so for him to say, race is being used against him is very interesting. But anyway, so Melle Mel, he made a diss track.
Not why Melle Mel.
Listen, and it is the most 1980s.
I said he hadn't rapped since he was wearing tracksuits.
And why are you rapping at me, young blood? And it was, he didn't say it, but that's what it sounded like to me. So now I will be honest.
All I thought, you ever watch Donald Glover's comedy special?
No.
Did you even know he had a comedy special?
No.
So this is older, when he was younger. And he was making fun of old school rap. He was like, he said they always rap about it. It's like, went to the hat store, bought myself a hat.
Actually, I have. Yeah.
That's all I can hear when you started talking about the young blood.
Yeah.
Went to the hat store, bought myself a hat.
It's true though. It's so true. You gotta listen to this diss track.
Oh, I'm gonna listen to it.
What?
Hold on. Cause you never. I don't think I ever showed you the DJ Cassidy thing. The Pastor Mike.
No.
So it was during quarantine with this guy DJ Cassidy. He's doing like Pastor Mike's where like he had like different like artists and they'll come on and either sing or rap like they're part of the song and they'll pass it to somebody else. I mean, not physically. It was like Zoom call type thing.
Right.
And I feel like Melle Mel was on one of those things, and I feel like he was the guy because he came in. If this is him, he came in. He had on like black and red, and he had on like black gloves with rings on top of the gloves. I feel like that. I gotta look it up now. I feel like that was him.
This guy is stuck in the.
I feel like that was Melle Mel on Pass the Mic. Well, first of all, how do you spell Melle Mel?
Melle. Mel.
Yeah, there we go.
So the diss track, Melle Mel's diss track, is actually pretty good for his time and his style.
But not today's.
Not to go against Eminem. No, he needed a ghostwriter because it was embarrassing. Like there's people that's been out there just saying like it's
sit down, old OG.
Exactly.
Just sit down.
If I was Eminem, I wouldn't even respond. I would just I'd like release a song. It'd be 5 seconds long. It'd just be me laughing.
Did Eminem ever respond to what was it, The Game?
I think so. I don't. Sometimes I like when people say things. I'm like, I don't know who this is in reference to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think they said that he did respond to The Game.
Yeah. Okay. Here. I turned the volume down because I don't want
to. Yeah. Oh.
That's Melle Mel.
So that's Dylan Brooks, and that's D.L. Hughley. That is. He is feeling himself though.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty.
I knew. I was like, because I've seen him. I was like, I've seen him somewhere. That was him. He had on black gloves. Yeah. Y'all didn't see it, but
no,
yeah. I could have shown him. That's too late.
But anyway, so Eminem, if Eminem raps like he did on this diss track, I would like to hear this Eminem.
Okay, so let's take it back. Mm-hmm. We've already talked about Melle Mel. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with the statement that Eminem wouldn't be top 5 rappers? Well, first off, do you even think Eminem is in the top 5?
All right, so my thing is, I started listening to music around Nellyville, so I missed a whole bunch of people that people would say it's like, oh, classic and blah, blah, blah.
I'm talking about just you personally. Is he in your top 5?
Most definitely.
But is he because he's whack?
Not at all. I think that he puts his words together so well, and maybe they don't have really much meaning nowadays, but he still has that ability.
So even with all the because I feel like Eminem came out strong.
Yep.
He rode that wave, and now he's kind of like whatever.
He still gets.
He's still top 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so
Or are you keeping him in your top? I guess what I'm trying to get at. Are you keeping him in your top 5 because of pre-Eminem, or is it because are you looking at his career as a whole and saying he's still top 5?
So if you want to look at somebody's career as a whole, like there's a lot of longevity. You'd have to differentiate like people who have been in the game for such and such or have released a whole bunch of albums, as opposed to like somebody right nowadays who's like came out strong. I had one great CD. So I would say if you want to put him in the Jay-Z's and Lil Wayne's and all that stuff, that kind of category, then yes, he's still top 5. But if you want to talk about a whole career, I think now he's made worse. His bad music outweighs the quantity of his good music.
Okay, so follow-up question. I get that. Follow-up question is, with your top 5, is it based on career or is it just based on how they rap or their flow? Because I heard you say the way he puts his words together.
Yep.
So is how you determine your top 5 is just based on like how they rap?
I'm going to
look at everything.
So it's going to be ability. Like I'm going based on ability. And that's probably why people wouldn't agree with me because it's going to take a lot to dethrone Eminem. And people are probably thinking, yeah, but he don't make what Game says. He doesn't make club music or he doesn't have hits nowadays. Yeah, that's fine. But if you want to put, let's just say him versus somebody else straight up, like let's just have a rap off. Eminem is killing him.
When Eminem killed Jadakiss?
What has Jadakiss done lately?
But I'm just saying, flow wise. Is Eminem killing Jadakiss? I
don't think Jadakiss has anything special. Like he's not that special.
The reason why I asked because like I'm not saying I'm like Jadakiss should be in the top 5. I'm just simply saying, like, to me, Jadakiss is one of those rappers where it's like he hadn't really hit that like plateau as far as like careers and albums and singles. But I feel like whenever somebody talks about Jadakiss, they always talk about, oh, he can flow.
Mm-hmm.
But they never like, oh, that hot single he had.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But he didn't really have a lot of. But to his defense, that had something to do with like marketing and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like lyrically, he's a great rapper. So I just feel like I would be interested to see him versus Eminem because they're both good lyrically. I wonder how that would go.
So it's like Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, in my eyes, there is nobody that can touch his handles. Like nobody in the history of the NBA. Like
not even Dr. Julius Erving.
I don't think he's even known for it. So Eminem is a Kyrie Irving of rap. In my eyes, nobody can touch him like the way he puts his word together. So he's just on an island by himself. But then you have like people who have a great flow, like Biggie, J. Cole, Jadakiss, like they. Mm-hmm. If you put them up against them, I'm probably gonna pick Eminem just because like his it's creative how he does it. But as far as like what Jadakiss and J. Cole and Biggie are saying, it's I'd have
more
to
storytellers.
I'd have to like I can't measure Eminem's verse the same. I can't measure J. Cole's verse the same way I measure Eminem's verse. I'd have to like try to.
It's like saying Steph Curry is better than LeBron. Like we both know it's not true, but at the same time, LeBron is not a better shooter than Steph Curry because they're in different categories.
Exactly. There you go. Yep.
So I get that because, like I said, I put J. Cole as like one of the best storytelling rappers, but that doesn't make him. I'm not saying he can't battle rap him and survive, but just based on like the works that he's put out, he's more of a like thought-provoking storyteller. Like you can put his album on, like he paints a picture, so you kind of see it, as opposed to him is just kind of like, this is what's on my chest, and I'm just gonna put some words together, and then I'm gonna tell you how I feel.
Yeah, yeah.
You may get a picture, but you may not. Either way it goes, you gonna get a peek inside my mind and see what I'm thinking, based on what I'm telling you.
Try to envision witnessing your mama popping prescription pills in the pit kitchen. It's just listen. It's so good. Like, and you may not care about what he's talking about, but it's so good.
Hey man, I like him. I mean, I don't have as much passion for him as you do.
Yeah,
but I like him. But to answer the question, I don't think he's on the Mount Rushmore of rap because he's white, though.
Right. Yep. I agree.
However,
he's not hurting from it.
He is definitely one of the best white rappers out there.
And that's an argument like people have against Melle Mel. Like, how are you saying that when Paul Wall and I can't think of anybody else right now. Millie, no.
You're just thinking like old white school rappers, or just in general?
Yeah, I guess there's
Logic.
Yeah.
No, he's black. He's mixed. Depends on what song you listen to. He's white or black.
Macklemore.
I actually like Macklemore.
I do too. G-Eazy. I like G-Eazy.
Yeah. Jack Harlow.
Jack Harlow. I've never. Okay, Lil Dicky is not. That's a whole different. Lil Dick. Anyway. I like his music, but Jack Harlow. I haven't had what's the word? I've never really wanted to dive into his other music that's not on the radio.
MGK?
Nope, I'm good with that. I'm good on that.
Vanilla Ice?
Yeah, nope, I'm good on that.
Bubba Sparks?
So Bubba came out under Timbaland and he was doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what happened with that. He was like, I'm going country rap, and now I'm good on that.
Yeah.
Same thing with Justin Timberlake. I know he didn't initially come out with Timbaland. I think it was more with Pharrell, but like Future Sex Love Sounds.